So I
I'm
was
here.
going, oh, you're here? Okay. So I was going to ask if anyone knows the main responsibility of business analysts, but it's kind of on the screen. So yeah, this class is basically we're going to go over requirements, elicitation, and documentation. And my brother said that I have to say that I put this here and he didn't want it, but I'm keeping it up. I don't care. This is my class. So when you start a project, initially you're going to have something called a requirements gathering session. This meeting is typically before project development, and you're going to meet with your stakeholders and understand basically two things: what the current state of the project is, that's the as is, what they're currently doing. Typically, they have a problem, you're going to discuss it, and then you have the to be state, yes, which is a future state. You'll talk about the functionalities, features, solutions that are needed from the project, essentially just solving that problem. And these requirement gathering, it happens initially before the project, and it can happen before each sprint also. Does everyone here know what a sprint is? My brother went over that already, or no? She did, right? Okay, good. So there are a few ways you can elicitate these requirements. I'm gonna go over each one of them, but I do have a favorite one. So very simple. You could introduce your stakeholders. Does anyone know what a stakeholder is? Just give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Yes, yes. Okay. So stakeholders are basically people inside your company, and you'll be working with them. And you can interview them to understand the requirements on a one-on-one interview. You can observe them, what are they currently doing, understand the pain points, the workflows, what's needed, firsthand insight that way. There's questionnaires, so you could always send surveys out. This is more for like quantitative data. I haven't personally used questionnaires, but it's definitely one way to get those requirements. And my personal favorite is JAD sessions. So JAD sessions are basically like interviews, meetings, but it's not a one-on-one session. Instead, you'll have key people, key stakeholders, you'll have business analysts, developers, PMs, anyone that you need. And I love these meetings because it's so collaborative. You'll understand from both the business side and the technical side. So sometimes the business will give you a requirement, and then and there, the developer will be like, I can't do it, which is why I feel the JAD session is one of the best ways to have these elicitation meetings. If I'm talking too fast, let me know. I have a tendency to do that. So during the meetings, there are definitely two questions that I like to ask personally, and they work with every project. So the first question is, we're gonna look at the second bullet point first. Very straightforward. What functionalities are needed? What features are needed? You're making a system. What do you need? And the other question is, what types of users are required? So I think this is one of the most essential questions that you're going to ask your stakeholders. You need to define the roles, the users. You're working in tech, so obviously you might be building an application, a project, and everything has a user. And you're going to see how this plays in later in the other slides as well. So after you have that elicitation meeting, you ask your questions. A lot of it is domain questions, but you have those technical questions as well. You'll go into recording the requirements. And am I going too fast? Or everyone has enough notes? I'm going to be sending this PowerPoint, so don't waste your time just like writing it out. Don't worry, guys. I got you. I would never do that to you. Am I recording? Yes, I am recording. Yes, okay, good. Functional requirements. That's the first kind of requirements. And what it will say is what a system should do. And then we have non-functional, and that is how a system should act. So I'm gonna go a little bit more in detail, just in case I didn't make any sense. So essentially a functional requirement is, it gives you the intentions of a system, what the system is doing, how it must, not how it must do, what it should be doing. So for example, you'll look at the user needs, capabilities, operational constraints. And just an example is the system needs to send a confirmation email whenever an order is placed. Does that make sense? So what a functional requirement is, what the system needs. Oh, okay. Then on the opposite side, you have non-functional requirements. So these are more so quality requirements, how a system should be doing things. So you could look at things such as speed, availability, capacity. And an example of this is the system must respond to users within 2 seconds. So any of those quality aspects, we would focus under non-functional requirements. So now it's your turn because I want to understand if you have an idea of it. I'm going to read 2 examples and I hope someone volunteers and tells me which one they think is which. So the first one is users should be able to generate and export reports based on their data queries. And the second one is the system must serve 10 million users without performance errors. So which one is functional and which one is non-functional?
Example 1 is functional.
And the second one is non-functional. You got it. I'm glad you got that one. Made me happy. And we're gonna do it again. Different set of examples. Sensitive data should be encrypted during transmission and storage. And the system should provide search functions that allow users to find information quickly. It's a bit harder.
Is example 3 functional?
Example 3 is non-functional.
Why?
So sensitive data, that is a security issue. That's quality. So let's go back to the slide. Non-functional, we focus on speed, availability, capacity, reliability, usability, and security. Any of those quality aspects, including security, those are non-functional requirements.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And now we're going to talk more so about use cases. So use cases are basically requirements, but it is a written description of how users will perform tasks on your website. And there are 3 essential functions of a, I'm sorry. There are 3 essential functions of a use case. There's the actor, the use case, and the flow. So honestly, you'll see different words here and there. Sometimes I've seen the actor, the system, the goal. Essentially, we're just gonna go with this one, but you'll see it differently in different places. So let's go into more depth in that. The actors, like I said, we want to know who the user is. So when defining the actor, you want to talk about who is the user. And then the use case is the action that's going to be performed. And then after that, we have the flow. So it goes step by step on what the actions are. So just to go, we're going to an example. It might make a little bit more sense now. So here's an example of an online shopping system. So our actor would be a customer. Our use case or our action is placing an order. And then we are our flow of events, what should happen. So, okay, so customers log into the account, customers browses for products, adds products to cart, checkout, customer enters payment and information, confirms the order, system should validate the payment and place the order, customers receive an order confirmation email. So step by step, you want to list it out for the developers to understand what is needed from the system. Any questions before I move forward? No? Okay. Well, now I want you guys to take 10 minutes and do this case study. I'll read it out loud. It's, as an online bookstore, we want to implement an online ordering system so the customers can purchase books from the comfort of their homes. So I want you guys to take 10 minutes, write it on a Word, your notebook, wherever you want to, and follow this method, the actor, the use case, the flow. I'll put a timer up. Just give me a second. And when you're done, just give me a thumbs up or something, or let me know. I can go back to the slide. And I'll keep the camera off for 10 minutes also while you do this. When you're both done, just let me know. I can't see your faces when I'm sharing screen, so just be like, hey, I'm done. Does anyone need more time or can we start? All right, take your time if you need it. You sure can. Hey guys, I was past 10 minutes. Everyone done? So does anyone want to share what they had? Share their screen? Any volunteers? No volunteers? Come on now, don't be shy. Give you guys 10 minutes.
I'll go. I wrote it down.
Cool.
Um, do you just want me to go?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, just go ahead. So what was your actor?
The customer.
Mm-hmm.
I also put down the bookstore because like they're the I don't know. There was a reason why I put down the bookstore, but now it's escaping me. Um,
Okay. You're thinking outside the box. That's good.
yeah, like kind of like because they would handle all the customer interactions.
Mm-hmm. That works.
Yeah. Okay. And then the flow, I put down browsing, like searching for a particular book.
What was your use case? There's a middle one, remember? The action.
All right. Um, completing a purchase. Would that be the
Yeah,
use case?
completing a purchase works.
Okay. Um, so the flow I wrote down like browsing or searching for a book,
Mm-hmm.
viewing the book,
Okay.
what the book is about, like the little excerpt, the author details,
Mm,
reviews, um, adding to cart and reviewing the cart,
okay.
um, guest checkout,
Mm-hmm. Good, good.
guest or login checkout,
Mhm.
shipping information, payment information, reviewing and confirming the order, and then placing the order.
Okay, good. Fardina or Taha, do you have anything different from that? There's no right
No,
or wrong answers, actually.
pretty much
Okay.
the same. Add book to cart, checkout cart.
For me, it's kind of the same. The actors for me would be I would add in readers,
Mhm.
and then part of the initial flow is entry into the website, the search bar, genres, authors, and interests, and then the end would be a page confirmation and email confirmation.
All right, good. So I did like that you entered that search bar and stuff. So no, we do want to think of it as a little bit technical. So think about Amazon. What do you see in the Amazon checkout? You'll see like the little icons. You need to mention stuff like that as well. But we'll get into that more so in like the next slides. So use cases are typically, my internet is unstable, so if I go off, just let me know. So use cases are typically done more so in a waterfall environment. You could have them in Agile, but they are very important to know. And they do set the scene for how to write a requirement in Agile. So in Agile, we have something very similar, but it's a lot more detailed. And it goes epics, features, user stories, acceptance criteria. And essentially it's a hierarchy. I'm gonna go over what each is in detail. And we're gonna go over a use case as well together, user story as well. And it's gonna make a lot more sense. So like I said, it's like a hierarchy. We start with this epic, which is basically a overall view of the entire little set. Actually, let me just go to the next slide. But yeah, here you can see it pictured. Epic, feature, user story, tasks, little hierarchy. And as we go downwards of this hierarchy, it gets more detailed. So first we have this overall epic, and this is like a very high level work container. And within the epic, we have these features. And the features are just specific functionalities of that service, right? So like our actions. So an epic for our books would be, actually, I'm going to a case study, easier that way. But then we have, under those features, we have user stories. So a user story is typically formatted in a point of view of the user. So the traditional format is, as a type of user, I want an action, so I have a benefit or value. So as a frequent shopper, I want to filter search results by price range so that I can easily find my products within my backlog. Does that make sense, the user stories? Okay. So under user stories, we're gonna have something called acceptance criteria. And acceptance criteria is essentially just a set of conditions to make that user story true. And you wanna have about 3 to 5 bullet points. Okay, before we do this, I want to go into another case study, but we're gonna do this one together. So to do this case study, we're gonna look at Chase. We're gonna have it as our example. So let's say we are working at Chase and we want to write some requirements for credit cards. So this is the page that we want to write our requirements for. So an example of our epic would be credit card. And then our feature, why is this not showing? Our feature could be just give it a moment. It was not working. Okay, there we go. So our feature to be on this page, let's say we want to look at this section right here. Our most popular rewards card. So feature, most popular rewards cards. Then under that, we want to have a user story. Does anyone want to give it a shot? What the user story could be?
I'm talking about use case or just a
User
flow?
story. So actually, I'll go over this one since these are a bit more detailed. So a user story we can have is, as the customer, you see our actor right there. I want to view all the popular reward cards so that I am aware of all the cards with the present. Yeah. So the difference between a use case and a user story is user stories are written from the point of view of the user. So in this case, the customer. So we have the actor, the customer, we have the action or the use case, wants to view all these popular awards cards, this little section. And then here, why did I not bold? And then here we have the benefit. So they could view all the cards that are present. So that's our user story. So now we have to write under that something called acceptance criteria. And essentially acceptance criteria is all the conditions to make this true. So one, what do we want? What are some conditions we want? First, we want to view all the cards. So we could write, I should be able to view all the popular rewards cards. Another acceptance criteria could be, I want to view descriptions. You see how they have little descriptions here? I want to view descriptions of the cards. And you can get even more specific. I want to view the bonus points associated with each card. Bonus points. I want to be able to click apply now. So click apply now. I should be able, look, they have some check boxes here. View, compare check boxes. And the list just goes on and on. So does that make sense to everyone, what everything is? Any questions? No, okay. So now I want you guys to take some time also, and I want you to, I'm not gonna give you guys a credit card, so I just did the credit card. So maybe I'm gonna make it harder. For this main page right here, you can also go on your computer and search it up, just chase.com, go on the main screen and give me the epic, a feature, and a user story. And I have my little example here, so you can view that. I'll give you guys a timer for 10 minutes. I'll keep my camera on because if I don't keep my camera on, it all goes to shit for me. So, but you can keep it off. Oh, it worked.
Wait, anything from the Chase website you're saying?
From the Chase main page right here.
Okay.
Yeah. So give me an epic, a feature, and a user story, and acceptance criteria. 3 to 5 bullet points for acceptance criteria is usually it. Anyone need more time? No, no more time. Anyone want to share? No short shared last time. So Fardina, Taha, do you want to go first this time?
I can go.
Mm-hmm.
The Epic would be an online checking account.
Okay.
Feature would be everyday checking accounts.
What did you say? I didn't
User
hear you
story.
there.
Huh?
What did you say? Can you repeat that for feature?
Oh, for feature everyday checking accounts.
Okay.
For user story, as a customer, I want to view all the everyday checking account options so that I'm aware of all the options present. I used options twice, sorry.
No worries.
Acceptance criteria, one should be able to view all the different kinds of everyday checking accounts. I want to view all the descriptions for the different checking accounts. I want to view the minimum deposits to open. I want to view the monthly service fees. And I want to view information about ATMs and branches.
Great. That was perfect, actually. So Taha or Nosh, did you have anything different?
No, I actually had something very similar.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, mine is similar too, but I went on a different page.
So why don't you tell me what you did?
Okay. I went on the home loans
Mhm.
page. Um, my epic was home loans. The feature was home loan options and buyer persona paths. The user story is I would want to explore the home loans so I can see what options I have. And again, very similar to what Ferdinand had gone through.
Can you repeat your user story for me?
The user story was, as a customer, I want to explore options for Chase's home loans, so I know what I have.
Wait a second, why my timer is going off? Not my timer. Oh, sorry about that. Can you repeat the user story again?
The user story I had is, as a customer, I want to explore options for Chase's home loans, so I can pick which one I can purchase.
Okay, great. Okay, you guys have it down. Just to go back. So this is a very traditional way of how writing a user story. Going back to all this, an epic is the high level, and then you could have multiple features under an epic, and then multiple user stories under a feature, just so you all know. But the epic is the highest level there, and then it branches down from everything. Also, in my personal experience with my company, so this is a traditional way. When you go to interviews, tell them it's literally actor, action, benefit. I never needed to put this benefit. Like my developers were like, I don't understand that. Why do you have that up there? But that's just traditionally, this is how you do want to do it. But when you're a BA, literally my developer was like, don't put that there. Just so you know. And now let's go back to the PowerPoint. We're almost done. So when we're writing the requirements, you guys have an understanding already, you wrote some, but something to keep in mind is some called the SMART method. You want to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. These are different attributes you should always consider when writing your requirements and your acceptance criteria. Very important, specific. This is one that hurt me when I started because I wasn't specific enough. Like it hurt me, but you have to be very, very specific. Your goal should be clear and specific. You can ask yourself questions of what needs to be accomplished, who is responsible for it, what steps are required to achieve it. Example from personal experience, I think one of my requirements were the file should be saved into the folder. What's the file name? What's the folder's name? Be as specific as possible. Another case out there, my developers are from the Ukraine. So they did not know simple things on how to write the date US way. So even small things sometimes you need to put in there. I'm sure you don't have to do that, but I had to do that at some point. Measurable. So if you're having a requirement that is quantifiable, what metrics are you using to measure that success? Make sure you have those little details in there. Achievable. ensure that your goal is realistic and attainable. Do you have the necessary resources to support? Is the goal within reach of your constraints? If you're not sure if it's achievable, definitely ask your PM. They'll tell you like, yes, we can do this. No, we can't. Ask your developers if they can achieve it. So sometimes you'll have requirements that your business team wants your stakeholders, but if your developers technically can't do that, it's not achievable. I've had that multiple times. And typically in those cases, you can just go back to your stakeholders and tell them that there's no technical aspect, and they usually are okay with that. But that's a story for another day. Relevant. So make sure all your requirements align to the goal. You don't want to have some things that are just there to be there, obviously. Make sure they align with the overall goal, the overall project, and that it just contributes to this overall success. Time bound. If you have any requirements that are under this, what's a necessary time frame? Like example, we said users should be able to click within 2 seconds and have a pop-up page appear, things like that. So it also ties back with being specific. So essentially you want to have, you want to have all of these attributes in it. Maybe some requirements don't apply to like realistic or not realistic, but like measurable. There's something that you don't need to look at, but essentially you do want to follow this method. We did the case study. So another thing I'm talked about is called a negative user story. So what we talked about essentially was quote unquote the happy flow. The happy flow goes step by step on what a user story should happen in the most ideal situation. A negative user story talks about corner cases. So what if there's an error? Let's say that your user is making a payment and then there's error, something happens, the payment, like sometimes the transaction didn't go through. What are steps that you should take to fix that? And you'll have acceptance criteria for that. Fun fact, this was one of my interview questions for my current company. And I didn't know the answer, but I still got the job. So you don't have to know all the answers. And we're actually done with the class, but I do want to give you guys some homework. It's completely optional, but it's highly recommended because this way I do understand where you are, but all of this is optional. And it's very similar to our case study. I want you to go on a website and write 1 epic, 1 to 2 features, 2 to 3 user stories. Use a SMART method and include a negative user story. If you can provide me a link to the website you use, that's good also. And then just email it to me. So the thing about this case study is right now I'm letting you guys pick a website and look at it. As a business analyst, nothing's developed yet. So all these are developed, but it's just kind of getting your feet wet into understanding how to write the requirements. So before we end, does anyone have any last final thoughts, questions? No.
Just wanted to confirm that you're going to email this over